The steel-toed boot connected with Shadow's ribs. The crack echoed through the empty street. Officer Maya Torres screamed until her throat bled, but the arm around her neck wouldn't let her move. The Mafia boss's son laughed in her face, while his men kicked her canine partner again. And again, and again. Shadow's cries grew weaker with each blow. Maya begged, she pleaded. She offered them anything. They just kept laughing. They thought they were untouchable. They thought no one would stop them. They were wrong. In the shadows, a Navy SEAL was watching, and he was done waiting. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from. And if this story touches your heart, please subscribe and follow until the very end. The radio crackled at 11:47 p.m. Officer Maya Torres reached for it, without taking her eyes off the empty street ahead. 3 years on the force. 2 years as a canine handler. She had learned to trust her instincts, and right now every instinct she had was screaming that tonight was different. Unit 14, what's your position? Corner of Meeting and Broad, Maya replied. All quiet. Stay sharp. We got reports of a red Ferrari doing 90 through the historic district. Driver ran 2 red lights already. Maya felt Shadow shift in the back seat. The Belgian Malinois had lifted his head, ears pricked forward. He always knew. Before the sirens, before the calls, before anything happened, Shadow knew. Copy that, Maya said. We'll keep our eyes open. She ended the transmission and glanced in the rearview mirror. Shadow's dark eyes met hers. You heard that, didn't you, boy? Shadow let out a low whine. Yeah, Maya whispered. Me too. The Ferrari appeared 3 minutes later. It came around the corner so fast that the tires screamed against the cobblestones. The engine roared like a wounded animal, and for one terrible second, Maya watched it barrel straight toward a family of 4 crossing the street. The mother grabbed her children. The father threw himself in front of them. The Ferrari swerved at the last possible moment, missing them by inches, and kept going. Maya didn't hesitate. She hit the lights. The siren wailed. The cruiser shot forward. Hold on, Shadow. The chase lasted less than 2 minutes. The Ferrari tried to run weaving through the narrow streets, but Maya knew Charleston better than anyone. She cut him off at the intersection of Queen and Church, her cruiser blocking the only escape route. The Ferrari's brakes locked. The car fishtailed, then stopped. Maya was out of her cruiser before the engine died. Her hand rested on her service weapon as she approached the driver's side. Turn off the engine, she commanded. Hands where I can see them. The window rolled down, and a wave of bourbon hit her like a physical force. The driver was young, maybe 22 or 23, with slicked back dark hair and a silk shirt unbuttoned halfway down his chest. A gold watch glinted on his wrist. His eyes were glassy, unfocused. Do you have any idea, he slurred, how much this car costs? Sir, I need you to turn off the engine and step out of the vehicle. The young man laughed. It was an ugly sound, wet and arrogant. You're joking, right? He squinted at her badge. Torres. What kind of name is that? Maya's jaw tightened, but her voice stayed level. Sir, I observed you driving recklessly and nearly striking a family of 4. I need you to step out of the vehicle now. A family of... He waved his hand dismissively. They were in my way. Everyone's always in my way. He pulled out a gold phone and started scrolling. Sir, put the phone down. 1 second. He pressed a button and held the phone to his ear. Dad. Yeah, it's me. Some lady cop is bothering me. Can you handle it? Maya waited. In the back of her cruiser, Shadow had started barking. low warning barks that meant he sensed danger. The young man ended the call and smiled at her. It was the smile of someone who had never faced a consequence in his life. "There," he said. "My father's handling it. You can go now." "I'm not going anywhere, sir. Step out of the vehicle." "Do you know who my father is?" "I don't care who your father is." For the first time, something flickered in his glassy eyes. Surprise, maybe, or confusion, like he had never heard those words before. "You don't care?" he repeated slowly. "No, sir. Step out of the vehicle." He got out. He stumbled, caught himself on the door, and nearly fell again. Maya administered the field sobriety test with methodical precision. Walk the line. Touch your nose. Stand on one leg. He failed everything. "Marco Castellano," he announced suddenly, as if the name itself would change her mind. "My father is Vincent Castellano. The Vincent Castellano." Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. She knew the name. Everyone in Charleston knew the name. The Castellano shipping empire controlled half the docks. The family had been investigated 12 times. Nothing ever stuck. But it didn't matter. Not tonight. Not to her. "Mr. Castellano, based on your performance on these tests, I'm placing you under arrest for driving under the influence." Marco's face went pale. "What? Turn around and place your hands behind your back." "You can't do this. You can't. Turn around, sir." He turned. Maya reached for her handcuffs. That's when the headlights appeared. Three black SUVs glided out of the darkness like sharks emerging from deep water. They moved in perfect formation, blocking the street in front of her cruiser and behind the Ferrari. Maya's hand moved from her handcuffs to her weapon. "Stay where you are, Mr. Castellano." The SUV doors opened. Men emerged. 4 of them, all in dark suits, all moving with the coordinated precision of professionals. These weren't street thugs. These were trained operatives. The largest one, a mountain of a man with a shaved head, walked directly toward Marco. "Mr. Castellano," he said, "your father sent us." Marco's entire demeanor changed. The fear evaporated. The arrogance returned. "About time," he muttered. Maya drew her weapon. "Everyone stay back. This is an active arrest." The men didn't stop. "I said stay back." The first one moved so fast she barely registered it. He came from her left, grabbed her gun hand, and twisted. Pain shot up her arm. Her weapon clattered to the ground. The second man hit her from behind. Her radio was torn from her belt. The third man grabbed her arms and wrenched them behind her back. She felt his forearm lock around her throat, not choking her, controlling her. "No!" Maya screamed. "Get off me! Get—" The man tightened his grip. Her voice cut off. Marco Castellano walked over and stood directly in front of her. He was smiling again, that same wet, ugly smile. "You don't care who my father is," he said softly. "You should. You really should." He looked past her to the cruiser where Shadow was going crazy. The dog was throwing himself against the door, barking, snarling, desperate to get to his handler. "That your dog?" Marco asked. Maya felt ice in her veins. "Don't. I hate dogs. Don't touch him. He's a police officer. He's—" Marco nodded to 2 of his men. "Show her what happens to people who don't care who my father is." "No." Maya fought against the arm holding her, but it was like fighting concrete. "No, please, leave him alone." They opened the K9 compartment. Shadow exploded out of the cruiser, 90 pounds of muscle and fury trained to protect his handler at all costs. He launched himself at the first man, teeth bared, but they were ready. The first kick caught Shadow in the ribs. The impact sent him tumbling sideways. Before he could recover, the second man stepped in and kicked him again. And again. Maya screamed until her throat bled. "Shadow, no, stop it. Stop." The sound of boots hitting flesh. The sound of her partner crying out in pain. The sound of Marco Castellano laughing. "Please," Maya sobbed. "He's just a dog. Please stop." Marco leaned close to her face. His breath was hot and sour. "This is what happens," he whispered. "This is what happens when you don't respect the Castellano name." The kicking continued. Shadow's cries grew weaker. Maya could see him on the ground now, curled into a ball trying to protect himself. She had never felt so helpless in her life. "Please," she begged. "I'll do anything. I'll drop the charges. I'll say it was a mistake. Please just stop." Marco smiled. Too late. Cole Brennan heard the screaming from 3 blocks away. He had been walking to silence the noise in his head. 2 tours in Afghanistan. 18 months of operations he would never speak about. Things he had done. Things he had seen. Things that woke him at 3 a.m. with his heart pounding and his hands reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. The doctors called it adjustment disorder. His team called it the cost of doing business. Cole just called it his life. He was supposed to be on leave, supposed to be decompressing, supposed to be finding his way back to something like normal. But normal didn't exist for men like Cole Brennan. The screaming changed everything. It wasn't a startled scream. It was the raw, desperate sound of someone watching something they loved being destroyed. Then he heard the dog. Cole stopped walking. His body went still, every sense sharpening to a razor's edge. He listened, analyzed, calculated. Woman screaming. Dog in pain. Multiple male voices. The thud of boots hitting flesh. He didn't run toward the sound. He moved into the shadows. He approached from the darkness using every skill 18 years of special operations had given him. He saw them from behind a massive oak tree, one woman being held by a large man in a suit, 4 other men, one drunk kid in an expensive shirt, and on the ground, a dog, a Belgian Malinois in a canine vest being kicked by 2 men in steel-toed boots. Cole's assessment took less than 3 seconds. 4 hostiles, 1 hostage, 1 victim, 1 drunk civilian who was clearly the cause. The men holding the woman were professionals, private security maybe, former military. They moved like they knew what they were doing. But Cole Brennan had spent his entire adult life learning how to neutralize professionals. His objective formed instantly: save the woman, save the dog, put down all threats. The most important rule: don't kill anyone. This wasn't a war zone. This was American soil. But that didn't mean he couldn't hurt them. He began to move. The first man never saw him coming. Cole emerged from the shadows behind the black SUVs. The driver was leaning against the vehicle, watching the show, occasionally glancing at his phone. Cole's hand cupped his chin. His knuckles struck the man's temple. A single precise blow. The driver crumpled without a sound. Cole caught him before he hit the ground and lowered him gently. He took the man's weapon, checked the chamber, and tucked it into his waistband. 1 down. 4 to go. The 2 men kicking the dog were focused on their work. They didn't hear Cole approaching. They didn't see the shadow moving behind them. The first one reared back for another kick. He never landed it. Cole grabbed his wrist with one hand, his elbow with the other. He twisted. The sound of the joint separating was loud and wet. The man screamed. Cole was already moving to the second one. The man turned, surprised, reaching for a weapon. Too slow. Cole drove a rigid palm strike into his solar plexus, then brought his elbow up into the side of the man's head. The man dropped like his strings had been cut. 2 seconds. 2 men down. Marco Castellano's smile disappeared. What? Who? The man holding Maya reacted like a professional. He tightened his grip on her and used her as a shield, his free hand fumbling for his weapon. "Stay back," he roared. "I'll kill her." Cole stopped. He raised his hands, palms open. "Let her go," he said. His voice was calm, almost conversational. "We can talk about this. Who are you? How did you? Just let her go. Nobody else needs to get hurt." The man hesitated. His eyes flicked to Marco, waiting for orders. That was his mistake. Cole moved, not toward the man, but around him. In one fluid motion, he grabbed the handcuffs still dangling from Maya's belt, looped the chain around the man's throat, and pulled. The man's grip on Maya vanished. Both hands flew to his neck, clawing at the steel chain, cutting into his flesh. Cole held the choke for exactly 3 seconds, long enough to put him out, not long enough to kill him. The man went limp. Cole let him fall. Gatusuan. Maya hit the ground on her hands and knees, gasping for air. Her throat burned. Her arms ached. But she was free. She crawled toward Shadow. "Shadow. Oh God. Shadow. I'm here. I'm here, boy." The dog was lying on his side, his breathing shallow and rapid. Blood matted his dark fur. He let out a weak whimper when she touched him. "No, no, no," Maya sobbed. "Stay with me. Please stay with me." Behind her, she heard a strange sound. A wet, choking noise. She turned. Marco Castellano was vomiting on his own shoes. The man who had saved her was standing in the middle of 4 unconscious bodies, not even breathing hard. His face was hidden in shadow, but his eyes were visible. Cold. Calm. Utterly without mercy. He looked at Marco. Marco let out a sound like a wounded animal and stumbled backward. "Please," he whimpered. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean—" The man said nothing. He just looked at Marco the way a scientist might look at a particularly disgusting specimen. Then he turned away, dismissing Marco completely, and walked toward Maya. "Is he alive?" Cole asked. Maya looked up at him through tears. "I don't know. He's not moving right. He's—" Cole knelt beside the dog. His hands moved over Shadow's body with surprising gentleness, checking for injuries. 3, maybe 4 broken ribs, he said quietly. "Possible internal bleeding. He needs a vet. Now." "I can't, my radio, they took my—" "Phone." "What? Your phone. Where is it?" Maya fumbled in her pocket with shaking hands. She pulled out her personal cell. "Call the emergency vet," Cole said. "Tell them you have a K9 officer down. Tell them you're on your way." "But my cruiser, I'll drive." Maya made the call. Her voice was barely recognizable, choked with tears and fear. She gave the address. She gave Shadow's information. She said the words, "Officer down," and felt them tear something inside her. Cole picked up Shadow as if the 90-pound dog weighed nothing. He carried him to the cruiser and laid him gently in the back seat. "Get in," he told Maya. She got in. Cole slid behind the wheel of her police cruiser and hit the lights. No siren. He didn't need it. He drove through the empty streets of Charleston with a controlled speed that was somehow more terrifying than recklessness. In the back seat, Shadow whimpered. Maya reached back and put her hand on his head. "Hold on, boy," she whispered. "Just hold on." Behind them, Marco Castellano stood alone on the dark street surrounded by 4 unconscious men. His hands were shaking. His silk shirt was stained with vomit. His expensive shoes were ruined. He pulled out his gold phone and dialed with trembling fingers. "Dad," his voice cracked. "Dad, something happened. Something bad." He looked down at his men, then at the empty street where the cruiser had disappeared. "There was a man," Marco said. "He came out of nowhere. Dad, I think we have a problem." The emergency vet clinic was a harsh white box of fluorescent lights and antiseptic smells. Cole carried Shadow through the doors, and within seconds, a team in scrubs had surrounded them. "K9 officer down," Cole said. "Blunt force trauma to the ribs. Possible internal bleeding. He's been unconscious for 3 minutes." A woman with purple hair and tired eyes took charge. "Get him on the gurney. Now, or to prep for emergency surgery." They took Shadow away. Maya tried to follow, but a nurse stopped her. "Ma'am, you can't go back there. You need to fill out these forms." "Forms my partner is—" "I know, but we need his medical history, allergies, pre-existing conditions. We can't operate without it." Maya stared at the clipboard. Her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't hold the pen. The letters on the page swam in front of her eyes. "I can't," she whispered. "I can't make it stop. My hands won't—" Cole stepped forward. He took the clipboard from her. "Officer Maya Torres," he said to the nurse. "Badge 2214. K9 is Shadow, 4 years old, Belgian Malinois. No known allergies. No pre-existing conditions. Active duty police dog." The nurse looked at him. "And you are a witness. Are you family?" "I'm the reason he's still alive." The nurse hesitated, then nodded. "Wait here. The doctor will update you as soon as he can." Maya collapsed into the plastic chair. The adrenaline that had been holding her together was gone. In its place was nothing but a cold, sucking void. She put her bloody hands over her face and started to cry, not the screaming sobs from the street. These were silent tears, the kind that came from somewhere deeper than sound could reach. Cole didn't sit next to her. He took a seat across the small waiting room and said nothing. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. Time had lost all meaning. Finally, Maya lowered her hands. She looked at the man who had saved her. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice raw. "Nobody." "You're not nobody. You just took out 4 trained men in about 10 seconds. 12 seconds. What? It was 12 seconds. I counted." Maya stared at him. "Who are you?" Cole was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Someone who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or maybe the right place at the right time. Depends on how you look at it." "That's not an answer." "No, it's not." The door to the surgical area opened. A man in his 50s walked out, still wearing his surgical cap. His face was lined with exhaustion, and his eyes were kind but serious. "Officer Torres!" Maya shot to her feet. "Is he okay? Please, is he—" "I'm Dr. Warren," the man said. "I've just completed my initial assessment." "Is he alive?" "Yes, but I need to be honest with you. Your partner is in critical condition. He has 3 broken ribs. One of them punctured his lung. He's bleeding internally." Maya's legs buckled. She grabbed the back of a chair to keep from falling. "Oh, God. I need your permission to operate. Without surgery, he won't make it through the next hour." "Do it," Maya said immediately. "Do whatever you have to do. Please, just save him." I need you to understand the risks. Even with surgery, his chances are about 50-50. The damage is severe. 50-50, he's strong. He's a K9, which is in his favor. But I won't lie to you. This is going to be a fight. Maya felt tears streaming down her face again. He's a fighter. He's the best fighter I know. Dr. Warren nodded. Then let's give him a chance to prove it. He turned and disappeared back through the doors. Maya stood frozen, staring at the door where Dr. Warren had vanished. 50-50. Those words echoed in her head like a death sentence. Her partner, her friend, the only family she had left in this city had a coin-flip chance of survival. She didn't realize she was falling until strong hands caught her. Cole guided her back to the chair. He didn't say anything. He didn't offer empty comfort. He just made sure she didn't hit the ground. Maya looked up at him through blurred vision. "He's all I have," she whispered. "My dad died when I was 12. My mom passed 2 years ago. Shadow's all I have left." Cole was quiet. "He bit me the first day we met." Maya continued, the words spilling out of her. "He was 12 weeks old, and I went to the training center to pick my partner. All the other dogs were calm, obedient. Shadow took one look at me and bit my hand." She held up her left hand. A faint white scar crossed the back of it. "Everyone said I should pick a different dog. They said he was too aggressive, too independent. But I looked at that little monster and I knew." She laughed, a broken sound. "I knew he was going to be the best cop I ever worked with." Cole sat down next to her. Not close, but closer than before. "He's not a pet," he said quietly. Maya looked at him. "What? He's not a pet. He's a warrior. He's trained to fight, to endure, to survive. This is his battle now. You have to let him fight it." Maya wiped her eyes. "How do you know?" Cole was silent for a moment. Then he rolled up his sleeve, revealing a long, puckered scar that ran from his wrist to his elbow. "Kandahar," he said. "Shrapnel from a bad call. My friend didn't make it. This is my reminder that sometimes the only thing you can do is keep fighting." Maya stared at the scar, at the man who had appeared out of nowhere and changed everything. "You're military," she said. "I was." "What branch? The kind that doesn't exist on paper?" Maya nodded slowly. She didn't push. Some questions didn't need answers. They waited. The fluorescent lights hummed. The clock on the wall ticked. Somewhere in the building a dog barked once and fell silent. Maya's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Captain Holt. She ignored it. It buzzed again and again. "You should answer that," Cole said. "I can't. Not yet. Not until I know." The phone stopped buzzing. Then it started again. Maya turned it off. 2 hours passed. Maya had stopped crying. She had stopped doing anything except sitting and waiting and praying to a God she wasn't sure she believed in anymore. Cole hadn't moved. He sat in the same position, perfectly still, like a statue carved from stone. But his eyes never stopped scanning the room, the doors, the windows. Even now, even here, he was watching for threats. The surgical doors opened. Dr. Warren walked out. His surgical cap was gone. His scrubs were stained. Maya couldn't read his face. She stood up slowly, her legs numb. The walk from her chair to where he stood felt like it took 1,000 years. "Doctor," she said. Her voice didn't sound like her own. "Please," Dr. Warren looked at her. His tired eyes softened. "Your partner," he said, "is one hell of a fighter." Maya's heart stopped. "He made it through surgery. We repaired the lung, stopped the internal bleeding. He's not out of the woods yet. The next 12 hours are critical, but right now he's stable. He's alive." The world went white. Maya heard a sound coming from somewhere far away. It took her a moment to realize it was coming from her own throat, a sob of pure, overwhelming relief. She didn't remember moving, but suddenly she was hugging Dr. Warren, this stranger who had saved her partner's life. "Thank you," she choked out. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." "Don't thank me," Dr. Warren said gently. "Thank that stubborn dog of yours. He refused to give up." Maya turned around. Cole was standing now, watching her with an expression she couldn't identify. Something that might have been relief. Something that might have been understanding. She walked toward him. She didn't think about it. She didn't plan it. She just moved. And then she was in his arms. She buried her face in his chest and cried. Not tears of fear this time. Tears of gratitude, of exhaustion, of everything she had been holding inside since the moment those headlights appeared on that dark street. Cole stood rigid for a moment. Then slowly his arms came up around her. He held her while she fell apart. And for the first time in 3 years, Maya Torres didn't feel alone. The relief lasted exactly 47 minutes. Maya was still sitting in the waiting room, her body exhausted, but her mind unable to rest when Cole stood up suddenly. His entire posture changed. His eyes locked on something outside the window. "What is it?" Maya asked. "Black sedan. Been circling the block 3 times. Maya felt her stomach drop. "Castellano." "Probably. They're not coming in. Just watching." Cole turned to her. "You need to leave. Go home. Get some sleep." "I'm not leaving Shadow. He's in recovery. You can't see him until morning anyway." "I don't care. I'm not..." "Maya." Cole's voice was quiet, but firm. "You're no good to him if you collapse, and right now you're exposed. This clinic has glass walls and 1 exit. If they decide to do more than watch..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Maya looked at the window. She couldn't see the sedan, but she believed him. After what she had witnessed tonight, she believed everything he said. "I'll drive you home," Cole said. "In your cruiser. We'll leave out the back." "And then what? You just disappear?" Cole didn't answer. Maya stood up slowly. Her legs felt like they belonged to someone else. "I don't even know your name." "Cole. Cole Brennan." "Cole." She tested the name. "Thank you, Cole, for everything." "Don't thank me yet. This isn't over." They left through the back entrance, moving quickly through the employee parking lot. Cole had her cruiser keys. He drove with the same controlled precision as before, checking mirrors, constantly taking unexpected turns. Maya watched him. "You do this a lot. Drive like you're expecting an ambush. Old habits. Military habits. Something like that." They drove in silence for a few minutes. Then Maya asked the question that had been burning in her mind since the moment he appeared out of the darkness. "Why did you help me? You could have walked away. Most people would have." Cole's jaw tightened. "I heard your dog. I heard what they were doing to him." "That's it? You heard a dog in pain and decided to take on 4 armed men. I've seen what happens when good people don't act. I've seen villages burned, families destroyed, all because someone decided it wasn't their problem." He glanced at her. "It's always someone's problem." Maya didn't know what to say to that. They pulled up to her apartment building. It was a simple place, ground floor, nothing fancy. The kind of place a young cop could afford. Cole killed the engine but didn't move. "Your locks are garbage," he said. "Excuse me. Your front door, single deadbolt standard issue. I could get through it in about 8 seconds. Are you planning to break into my apartment? No, but they might." The words hung in the air between them. "Get some sleep," Cole said. "I'll be in touch. How I don't have your number." He reached over and took her phone from her hand. His fingers moved across the screen for a few seconds. Then he handed it back. "Now you do." Maya looked at the new contact. Just the name Cole and a number. When she looked up, he was already out of the car. "Wait," she called. "Where are you going?" "To find out what we're dealing with." And he walked away into the darkness, and within seconds he was gone. Like he had never existed at all. Maya sat in her own cruiser for a long moment, staring at the empty street. Then she went inside, locked her garbage deadbolt, and collapsed on her couch without even taking off her uniform. She was asleep within minutes. The nightmare started immediately. Maya woke at 6 a.m. to the sound of her phone ringing. She grabbed it, heart pounding, expecting Cole. Or the vet clinic. Or both. It was neither. "Officer Torres?" Captain James Holt's voice was flat. "I need you in my office, now." "Sir, I was going to come in and file my report, but I need to check on Shadow first. He's at the emergency clinic and I know where he is. I know what happened. That's why I need you here, now." The line went dead. Maya stared at the phone. Something was wrong. She could hear it in his voice. Captain Holt had always been fair to her, had always supported her. But that tone. She showered in 3 minutes, dressed in 4, and was in her car in 5. The precinct felt different when she walked in. Officers she had worked with for 3 years suddenly couldn't meet her eyes. Conversations stopped when she passed. The usual morning banter, the jokes, the complaints about coffee, all of it went silent. Maya's stomach twisted tighter with every step. She knocked on Captain Holt's door. "Come in." He was sitting behind his desk, and he looked like he hadn't slept. His face was gray, his eyes bloodshot. A thick file sat in front of him. "Sit down, Torres." She sat. "I've been on the phone since 3 a.m., Holt said. "With the chief, with the mayor's office, with people I didn't even know existed until tonight. Sir, I can explain what happened. Marco Castellano was driving under the influence. He nearly killed a family. I made a lawful arrest and then, I know what happened." Holt cut her off. "I've read your preliminary statement. I've seen the scene. I've talked to the EMTs who transported Castellano's men to the hospital. Then you know I did everything by the book. I was attacked. Shadow was attacked. If it wasn't for who?" Holt leaned forward. "That's what I want to know. Who was the man who put 4 trained security operatives in the hospital?" Maya hesitated. "I don't know his full background. He said his name was Cole Brennan. He was passing by and heard what was happening." "Cole Brennan." Holt wrote the name down. "And he just happened to be able to incapacitate 4 armed men in under a minute. He's former military, special operations, I think." "You think he didn't give me his service record, Captain? He saved my life." Holt leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes again. "Torres, do you understand what you've stepped into?" "I arrested a drunk driver." "You arrested Marco Castellano, the only son of Vincent Castellano." "I don't care who his father is." "Well, his father cares about you." Holt pushed the file across the desk. "This was delivered to my office an hour ago. It's a formal complaint filed by the Castellano family's attorney. They're alleging that you used excessive force during a routine traffic stop, that you provoked the confrontation, and that you conspired with an unknown assailant to brutally attack Mr. Castellano's personal security team." Maya felt the blood drain from her face. "That's insane! They attacked me! They nearly killed my dog. I know that. You know that. But Richard Vance, that's the attorney, is already meeting with Internal Affairs. He's requesting a full investigation. Into me, into you, Torres, into your accomplice, into whether this was a setup from the beginning. Maya couldn't breathe. They're trying to flip this. They're trying to make me the criminal. That's exactly what they're doing. And they have the money and the connections to make it stick. So what happens now? Holt was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with something that sounded like defeat. Effective immediately, you're on administrative leave. I'm required to take your badge and your service weapon pending the investigation. You can't be serious. I don't have a choice. This came from above me, way above me. Maya stood up. Captain, I did nothing wrong. I followed every protocol. I made a clean arrest. They assaulted a police officer. They assaulted a K-9 unit. And now I'm being punished. You're not being punished. You're being protected. Protected, I'm being thrown to the wolves. Torres. Holt's voice hardened. Sit down. She sat, her hands shaking with rage. Listen to me carefully, Holt said. The Castellano family has owned pieces of this city for 40 years. Police, politicians, judges, they don't lose. They never lose. And you just embarrassed them in a way they can't ignore. So I should have let Marco go, let him drive drunk until he killed someone. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to understand what's coming. This isn't just a legal battle. These people destroy their enemies. Careers, reputations, sometimes more than that. He pushed a small evidence bag across the desk. Maya's badge and gun were inside. I'm sorry, Holt said. I really am, but my hands are tied. Maya took the bag. The weight of it felt like grief. Go home, Holt said. Stay out of sight. Don't talk to anyone about this case, and for God's sake, don't contact your mystery man again. If IA finds out you're coordinating with him, they'll charge you with conspiracy. And Shadow? Holt's expression softened slightly. I called the clinic this morning. He's stable. They're optimistic about his recovery. It was the only good news Maya had heard in 12 hours. She walked out of the precinct with her badge in a bag and her career in ruins. Richard Vance was waiting for her in the parking lot. He was leaning against a silver Mercedes wearing a suit that probably cost more than Maya made in a month. His smile was the kind of smile that made her want to take a shower. Officer Torres, or should I say former Officer Torres? Maya kept walking toward her car. I have nothing to say to you. That's fine. You can just listen. Vance fell into step beside her. My client Marco Castellano is a young man who made a mistake. He had too much to drink. He made some poor choices. He's very sorry about what happened to your dog. Maya stopped. His men kicked my partner until his ribs broke, until his lung collapsed. He's sorry, deeply sorry. So sorry, in fact, that the Castellano family would like to make a gesture of goodwill. Vance pulled an envelope from his jacket and held it out. A donation to the Charleston K-9 unit, $100,000, for equipment training, whatever you think is appropriate. Maya stared at the envelope like it was a snake. All we need in return is a small clarification, a revised statement explaining that the situation last night was a misunderstanding, that your dog became aggressive first, that my client's security team was simply defending themselves. You want me to lie. I want you to remember things more accurately. Maya stepped closer to him, close enough to see the cold calculation behind his friendly eyes. Go to hell. Vance's smile disappeared. What replaced it was something much more honest, something reptilian. That's unfortunate, Officer Torres. Very unfortunate. He tucked the envelope back into his jacket. You know, Charleston can be a dangerous city, especially for someone who's alone. No badge, no gun, no partner. He glanced at his watch. I hope your apartment has good locks. These old buildings, they're so easy to break into. He walked back to his Mercedes, got in, and drove away. Maya stood in the parking lot, shaking. She had never felt so exposed in her life. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Where are you?" She typed back. "Precinct parking lot. Just got suspended." The reply came immediately. "Go to your car. Don't go home. Drive to the marina on East Bay. Parking lot by the boat ramp. I'll find you." Maya hesitated. She didn't know this man. She had known him for less than 12 hours. He could be anyone. He could be working for Castellano for all she knew. But she remembered the way he had held her while she cried. She remembered the look in his eyes when he saw what they were doing to Shadow. She got in her car and drove to the marina. Cole was waiting in the shadow of an old fishing supply shop. He materialized beside her car window so suddenly that she nearly screamed. "You weren't followed," he said. "I checked." "How did you never mind?" She got out of the car. "They suspended me. They took my badge, my gun. They're investigating me for excessive force." "I know." "You know how—" "I've been busy." Cole held up a small tablet. "Vincent Castellano, 62 years old, head of the Castellano shipping empire. Real name Vincenzo Castellano, born in Sicily, immigrated at age 7. The FBI has been investigating him for 30 years. Smuggling, extortion, labor racketeering. At least 6 rivals have disappeared over the years. Bodies never found." Maya felt sick. "And his son? Marco has been arrested 9 times. DUI, assault, possession, reckless endangerment. Every single charge was dropped. Witnesses recanted. Evidence disappeared. Prosecutors suddenly retired." Cole put the tablet away. "This family doesn't fight fair. They don't fight at all. They make problems disappear. And now I'm a problem. Yes. So what do I do?" Cole was quiet for a moment. "You could run. Leave Charleston. Start over somewhere else." "I'm not running." "Then you fight. But not their way. We have to be smarter." Cole looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time since they met. "I didn't ask for this," he said. "I was supposed to be on leave. I was supposed to be forgetting things, not getting involved in new ones. But I saw what they did to you. What they did to your dog. And I can't walk away from that." "Why? You don't even know me." "I know enough. I know you had the chance to let a rich kid go and you didn't. I know you fought even when you couldn't win. I know you love that dog more than anything else in this world." He paused. "That's enough." Maya felt tears threatening again. She forced them down. "I need to see Shadow," she said. "I need to know he's okay." "Then let's go." They took Maya's car. Cole drove again, and Maya didn't argue. She was too tired to argue about anything. The clinic was quieter during the day. A different receptionist, an older woman with kind eyes, recognized Maya immediately. "Officer Torres, Shadow's been asking for you." "He's awake. Woke up about an hour ago. Wouldn't stop whining until we showed him your picture from his file." The woman smiled. "That's one loyal dog you've got." She led them to the recovery ward. It was a long room with rows of kennels, most of them occupied by animals in various states of healing. The smell was a mixture of antiseptic and something warmer, something alive. Shadow was in the last kennel. He was lying on his side, an IV in his front leg, bandages wrapped around his chest. When he saw Maya, his tail started wagging. Weak, slow wags, but wags nonetheless. "Shadow." Maya dropped to her knees beside the kennel. "Oh, buddy, I'm here. I'm so sorry." Shadow lifted his head, and licked her fingers through the cage door. "Can I go in?" Maya asked. "Just for a few minutes. He needs to rest." Maya opened the kennel door and crawled inside. She lay down next to her partner, her head beside his, her hand resting gently on his uninjured side. "I'm so sorry, boy. I couldn't protect you. I tried so hard, but I couldn't." Shadow licked her pensuite. Maya laughed through her tears. "You're comforting me. You're the one who almost died." Shadow's tail wagged again. Cole stood at a distance watching. Something in his expression shifted, something hard and guarded cracking open just a fraction. He thought about Kandahar, about the dog that had saved his unit 3 times before stepping on an IED, about the way that dog had looked at his handler with absolute unconditional trust. Some bonds couldn't be broken, not by violence, not by time, not by anything. After 10 minutes, the vet tech gently told Maya it was time to let Shadow rest. Maya kissed her partner's head and backed out of the kennel. "I'll be back tomorrow," she whispered. "I promise." Shadow's eyes followed her until she was out of sight. In the parking lot, Maya finally broke. "I can't do this," she said. "I can't fight them. They have everything. Money, lawyers, connections. What do I have? Nothing. I have nothing." "You have me." Maya looked at Cole. Why do you care?" Cole was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, quieter, more human. "Because I spent 15 years fighting enemies I couldn't see. Enemies who hid behind walls and rules and money. And every time we found a way, every single time." He stepped closer to her. "The Castellanos think they're untouchable. They think power makes them invincible. But power is a weakness, too. It makes you arrogant. It makes you sloppy. And right now they're both. So what do? First, we make sure you're safe. Then we find their weakness. And then we make them pay for every bruise on that dog's body." Maya wiped her eyes. "You make it sound simple." "It's not. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. But you're not alone. Not anymore." He held out his hand. Maya looked at it. This stranger who had appeared out of nowhere and changed everything. This ghost who fought like a demon and spoke like a soldier. She took his hand. "Okay," she said. "Let's make them pay." Cole nodded once. "First stop hardware store. Your apartment needs better locks." Despite everything, Maya almost smiled. "You really hate my locks, don't you?" "I really hate anything that's easy to break." They got in the car and drove away from the clinic. Behind them in the shadows of the parking lot, a man in a dark suit watched them go. He pulled out his phone and dialed. "Yeah, it's me. The cop just left the vet clinic. She wasn't alone. The same guy from last night. They're together." He listened. "Understood. I'll keep eyes on them." He hung up and followed at a distance. The hunt was just beginning. The hardware store took 20 minutes. The installation took 2 hours. Maya watched Cole work on her front door, his movements precise and methodical. He didn't just replace the deadbolt. He reinforced the entire door frame with steel plates. He added secondary locks to every window. He checked sight lines, tested weak points, moved through her small apartment like he was preparing for a siege. "You're scaring me," Maya said. "The way you're doing this, like you expect an army to come through that door." "Not an army. Maybe 2 or 3 men. That's their style. Quick, quiet, professional." "How do you know their style?" Cole finished tightening the last screw and stood up. "Because it's my style, too." Maya's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and felt her heart sink. "Internal affairs. They want me to come in tomorrow for a formal interview." "Don't go." "I have to go. If I don't cooperate, it looks like I'm guilty." If you do cooperate, they'll twist everything you say. Cole wiped his hands on his jeans. These people have been doing this for 40 years. They know how to make innocent people look guilty. So what am I supposed to do? Hide? No. We go on offense. Maya shook her head. I'm a cop, Cole. Or I was. I believe in the system. I believe in due process. The system just suspended you for doing your job. The system is about to let the man who nearly killed your dog walk free. Cole's voice was hard. Sometimes the system is the enemy. Maya wanted to argue. She wanted to believe that if she just followed the rules, told the truth, everything would work out. But she kept seeing Richard Vance's reptilian smile, kept hearing his words about how dangerous Charleston could be. What do you mean, go on offense? The lawyer, Vance, he offered you a bribe today. That's a crime. If we can get him on tape admitting to it, admitting to what really happened that night, we can blow this whole thing open. A wire, you want me to wear a wire, not a police wire. My equipment. Untraceable. If we get the right confession, we take it to the FBI. They've been trying to nail the Castellanos for decades. We give them what they need. Maya sat down heavily on her couch. This is insane. Yes. It could get me killed. Yes. And you think I should do it anyway? Cole sat down across from her. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked almost human, almost vulnerable. I think you have two choices. You can change your name, start over somewhere they'll never find you. Or you can fight. There's no middle ground with people like this. Maya thought about Shadow. About his tail wagging even through the pain. About the way he'd licked her face like he was telling her everything would be okay. Shadow would fight, she said quietly. So would you. That's why you didn't let Marco go. Maya looked at this stranger who had become her only ally. Why are you doing this really? And don't give me some speech about doing the right thing. What's the real reason? Cole was silent for a long moment. Because I'm tired of watching bad people win, he finally said. I spent my whole career in places where the rules didn't matter, where money and power meant you could do whatever you wanted to, whoever you wanted. And every time I told myself it was different here, that America was different, that the good guys actually won. He looked at his hands. Then I came home and found out it's the same everywhere. The strong prey on the weak, the rich buy their way out of everything. And people like you get destroyed for doing the right thing. So this is personal. Everything is personal. The silence stretched between them. Okay, Maya said. I'll do it, but I need to see Shadow first. I need to know he's getting stronger. Tomorrow. First thing. And then we set a trap. The night passed slowly. Cole insisted on staying, taking the chair by the window where he could watch the street. Maya lay on her bed, fully clothed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. At 2:17 a.m., she heard it. A car door. Soft footsteps on concrete. Then nothing. She sat up, her heart pounding. Cole was already on his feet, moving toward the door without making a sound. He held up one hand, telling her to stay put. Through the gap in her curtains, Maya could see shadows moving on her walkway. Two figures. Large. Moving with purpose. Cole pressed himself against the wall beside the door. The doorknob rattled. Once. Twice. Maya's breath stopped. A voice outside, low and muffled. Deadbolt's different. Heavy duty. Another voice. Doesn't matter. Go around back. The shadows retreated. Cole moved instantly. He crossed the room, grabbed Maya's arm, and pulled her toward the bathroom. Window, he whispered. Now. What? They're going for the back door. We go out the bathroom window, circle around. Get to your car. But now, Maya. She didn't argue. She climbed through the small bathroom window, dropping onto the grass behind her building. Cole followed, landing silently beside her. They crouched in the darkness, listening. From inside the apartment came the sound of glass breaking. Her back door. "They're in," Cole breathed. "Move." They ran low and fast along the side of the building. Maya's car was parked in the front lot, 30 feet away. It might as well have been 30 miles. Cole reached the car first. He was already inside, hot-wiring the ignition before Maya even got her door open. "Get in. Get down." She threw herself into the passenger seat as the engine roared to life. Cole floored it, and the car shot out of the parking lot. In the rearview mirror, Maya saw 2 men burst out of her apartment's front door. One of them raised something. A phone, maybe. Or a gun. Cole took the first corner on 2 wheels. Are they following? Not yet, but they will. He drove for 15 minutes, taking random turns, doubling back twice before finally pulling into the parking garage of a downtown hotel. "Stay here," he said. "I'll check us in. Cash, no names." Maya sat in the dark car, shaking. They had come for her. In the middle of the night, they had come to her home with God knew what intentions. If Cole hadn't been there. She didn't want to think about what would have happened if Cole hadn't been there. He returned with a key card and led her to a room on the 4th floor. It was generic, anonymous, the kind of place nobody would think to look. Maya sat on the edge of the bed. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. "They were going to kill me," she said. "Maybe. Or send a message. Break some bones. Make sure you understood what happens to people who don't cooperate." "I can't go back there. To my apartment. I can't." "You won't. Not until this is over." Maya looked up at him. "When will it be over?" Cole didn't answer. That was answer enough. Morning came too soon. Maya woke disoriented, forgetting for a moment where she was. Then it all came flooding back. The break-in. The running. The hotel room. Cole was sitting by the window exactly where he'd been when she fell asleep. She wasn't sure he'd slept at all. "I called the clinic," he said. "Shadow's doing better. They're moving him out of critical care today." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. "Can I see him?" "After we make a plan." "What kind of plan?" Cole turned to face her. "You're going to call Richard Vance. You're going to tell him you've reconsidered, that you want to take the money, that you're ready to cooperate." Maya's stomach turned. Play along with their bribe. Make them think they've won. Get them comfortable. Get them talking. And then we get them on tape. Vance Marco, maybe even the old man himself. We get them admitting to everything. The bribe, the cover-up, the attack on Shadow. All of it. They'll never be that stupid. You'd be surprised. Arrogance makes people stupid. And these people have been untouchable for so long they've forgotten how to be careful. Maya took a deep breath. What if it doesn't work? Then we find another way. But this is our best shot. She thought about it. About playing the broken woman, the scared cop willing to sell out for safety. It made her sick. But she thought about Shadow, too. About his broken ribs and his wagging tail. About the men who had done that to him, laughing while they did it. "Okay," she said. "Give me the phone." The call lasted 3 minutes. Maya's voice was perfect, trembling, defeated. Exactly what Vance wanted to hear. "Mr. Vance, this is Officer Torres. I've been thinking about your offer, about the donation. I think we should talk." She could practically hear him smiling through the phone. "Officer Torres, I'm so glad you've come to your senses. I knew you were a reasonable woman. I just want this to be over. I want my life back." "Of course you do. And we want to help you get it back. All we need is a little cooperation." I can cooperate. I just need to know that I'll be safe. That my dog will be safe. You have my word. Once this unpleasantness is behind us, no one will bother you again. Can we meet somewhere private? I don't want anyone to see me talking to you. Naturally. Let me make some arrangements. I'll text you a location. The line went dead. Maya handed the phone back to Cole. Her hands were shaking again, but this time with something other than fear. He bought it, hook, line, and sinker. 2 hours later, the text came. An address, a warehouse on the waterfront, midnight. Cole studied the message with a frown. This isn't good. A warehouse at midnight. Classic ambush location. You think it's a trap? I think they're being careful. But it doesn't matter. We'll be more careful. And he spent the rest of the day preparing. He produced equipment from a bag Maya hadn't noticed before. A tiny recording device smaller than a button. An earpiece so small it was nearly invisible. A compact pistol that he pressed into her hands. I've never shot anyone, she said. Hopefully you won't have to. But if things go bad, you point and pull. Don't hesitate. Don't warn. Just shoot. Cole, these people tried to break into your apartment last night. They beat your dog half to death. They will kill you if they get the chance. Remember that. Maya held the gun. It was heavier than her service weapon. More final, somehow. What about you? I'll be there. You won't see me, but I'll be there. Anything goes wrong, I'll handle it. How? Cole almost smiled. Trust me. They drove to the warehouse separately. Cole went first hours ahead to scout the location and find his position. Maya followed at 11:45, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might break through her chest. The waterfront was deserted. The warehouse loomed ahead, a hulking shadow against the night sky. Maya parked where she'd been told. She got out of the car. Her legs felt like they belonged to someone else. I'm here, she whispered, knowing Cole could hear her through the earpiece. His voice came back calm and steady. I see you. Front entrance 20 feet ahead. 3 vehicles inside. I count at least 6 people. 6. Stay calm. Stick to the plan. Get them talking. Maya walked toward the entrance. Each step felt like walking toward her own execution. The door was open. She stepped inside. Richard Vance was waiting, his silver suit gleaming under the harsh industrial lights. But he wasn't alone. Marco Castellano stood beside him, a smirk on his face. And behind Marco, 6 men in tactical gear carrying automatic weapons. Maya's blood turned to ice. Officer Torres, Vance said, spreading his arms. So glad you could join us. What is this? Maya's voice was steady, but barely. I thought we were meeting alone. Change of plans. You see, Mr. Castellano wanted to be here personally, to accept your apology. Marco stepped forward. His eyes were different than before. Clearer. Colder. You embarrassed me, he said. In front of my father's men, in front of the whole city. Did you really think I'd let that go? I came here to cooperate. I came here to... You came here because you're stupid. Marco laughed. Did you actually think we'd pay you off? You, a nobody cop who doesn't know her place. In her ear, Cole's voice was urgent. It's a trap. Get out now. But there was nowhere to go. The men with guns had spread out, blocking every exit. I know you're wearing a wire, Vance said calmly. My people detected the signal the moment you walked in. Very professional equipment, I might add. Military grade. Which makes me wonder... He tilted his head. Who exactly is helping you? Maya said nothing. Marco grabbed her arm and yanked her forward. "Where is he, the man who attacked my security team? Where is he? I don't know what you're talking about." Marco hit her, an open palm across the face that sent her stumbling. "Don't lie to me," in her ear. "Stay calm. I'm moving to position." Maya tasted blood. "He was just a stranger, a passerby. I don't know his name." "Liar." Marco hit her again. "My father has resources you can't imagine. We know you've been seen with him. We know you spent last night together. Where is he?" "I don't know." Marco pulled a gun from his waistband and pressed it to her forehead. "Last chance." Maya closed her eyes. She thought about Shadow, about his warm fur and his loyal eyes, about the way he'd trusted her to protect him. She had failed him once. She wouldn't fail him again. "Go to hell," she whispered. Marco's finger tightened on the trigger. And then the lights went out. The warehouse plunged into absolute darkness. Men shouted. Flashlight beams sliced through the black. In Maya's ear, Cole's voice was ice cold. "Get down, now!" She dropped to the floor as the first shot rang out. It wasn't aimed at a person. It was aimed at the concrete floor 3 feet from one of the tactical team members. The man screamed as fragments of stone shrapnelled into his legs. "Contact!" someone shouted. "We have contact, more shots, but not random. Precise, surgical, each one taking out a flashlight, a weapon, a knee." Maya crawled toward the wall, staying low. In the chaos of muzzle flashes and screaming men, she saw Cole. He moved like smoke, like death itself. One moment he was behind a pillar, the next he was breaking a man's arm. Then he was gone, reappearing somewhere else, dropping another target. Marco was screaming orders. "Find him! Kill him!" But there was nothing to find. Cole was everywhere and nowhere. Within 90 seconds, every tactical operator was down. Wounded, not dead, but completely out of the fight. Richard Vance tried to run. Cole appeared in front of him and put him on the ground with a single strike. That left Marco. He was backed against a wall, his gun shaking in his hand. He fired wildly into the darkness. Once. Twice. 3 times. Stay back, or I'll..." Cole's hand came out of the darkness and ripped the gun from his grip. Marco screamed. Maya stood up slowly. Her face ached where he'd hit her. Her whole body was shaking. She walked toward Marco. "Officer Torres," Cole said. "He's yours." Marco looked at her. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked scared. Really, truly scared. "Please," he whimpered. "Please, I'm sorry. You didn't mean to beat my dog half to death. It was a mistake. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking." Maya stepped closer. "You know what I believe you. I believe you weren't thinking. Because people like you never have to think. You do whatever you want, and Daddy makes it go away." She pulled the handcuffs from her back pocket. The same cuffs Cole had used to save her life that first night. "Not this time." She grabbed Marco's wrist and wrenched it behind his back. He cried out in pain. "Marco Castellano," she said, her voice steady and strong. "You are under arrest, again, and this time you're not walking away." The cuffs clicked shut. In the distance, sirens began to wail. Cole appeared beside her. "Time to go." "What about them?" Maya gestured to the wounded men. "Anonymous tip to the FBI. They'll be here in 10 minutes, along with enough evidence to finally bring down the Castellano empire." "What evidence?" Cole held up a small device. "Everything Vance and Marco said tonight. Recorded on equipment that wasn't jammed because I switched frequencies the moment we got here." Maya stared at him. You knew it was a trap." "I suspected. That's why I had a backup plan. He almost smiled. Always have a backup plan. The sirens were getting closer. We need to move, Cole said. The FBI will handle Marco, but you and I need to disappear until this is over. Maya looked at the man who had saved her life twice in 1 week. The ghost who had taught her that sometimes justice doesn't come from a badge. Where do we go? Somewhere safe. Somewhere they'll never find us. He held out his hand. Maya took it. They walked out of the warehouse together, leaving the broken remnants of the Castellano Empire behind them. The safe house was a cabin 30 miles outside Charleston. Cole had it prepared in advance. Food, water, medical supplies, weapons. Everything they needed to disappear for as long as necessary. Maya sat at the small kitchen table staring at her phone. The screen showed 17 missed calls. Captain Holt. Internal Affairs. Numbers she didn't recognize. Don't answer any of them, Cole said. I wasn't going to. He was cleaning his weapons at the counter, his movements automatic, practiced. Even now, after everything that had happened, his hands were steady. The FBI will have Marco in custody by now, he said. Vance, too. The recording I sent them is enough to open a full investigation. And Don Castellano. That's the question, isn't it? Maya looked up. What do you mean? We got the son, we got the lawyer, but the father is still out there, and men like Vincent Castellano don't go quietly. You think he'll come after us? I think he's already planning it. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She read it and felt the blood drain from her face. Cole. He was beside her in an instant. He read the message over her shoulder. Officer Torres, you took my son. Now I will take everything you love, starting with the dog. Maya was on her feet before she finished reading. Shadow. He's still at the clinic. Cole grabbed her arm. Wait. I can't wait. They're going to... Think, Maya, this is what he wants. He wants you to panic. He wants you to run straight to the clinic where his men are waiting. Then what do I do? Let them kill Shadow. No. We call the clinic. We warn them. And then we go in smart, not scared. Maya's hands were shaking as she dialed. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Charleston Emergency Vet Clinic. This is Officer Maya Torres. My canine partner Shadow is in your care. I have reason to believe someone may try to harm him. You need to... Officer Torres. The voice on the other end changed, became harder, colder. I'm afraid Shadow isn't available right now. Maya's heart stopped. Who is this? Someone who wants to make a deal. Your dog for you. Simple exchange. 1 hour. The old shipyard on Morrison Street. Come alone, or the dog dies first. The line went dead. Maya stood frozen, the phone still pressed to her ear. They have him, she whispered. They have Shadow. Cole took the phone from her hand. His expression hadn't changed, but something in his eyes had gone cold. Colder than she'd ever seen. 1 hour, he said. That's enough time. Enough time for what? To end this. They drove in silence. Cole was behind the wheel, pushing the speed limit, but not breaking it. No need to attract attention. Not now. Maya sat in the passenger seat, her borrowed pistol in her lap. She had stopped shaking. The fear was still there, but it had transformed into something else. Something harder. He'll have men, she said. A lot of them. Yes. And we're walking in anyway. You're not walking in. I am. Maya turned to look at him. What? This is what I do, Maya. What I was trained for. Hostage rescue. Hostile extraction. I've done it 100 times in places that make Charleston look like Disneyland. Shadow is my partner. And you're not expendable. You walk in there, you're giving them exactly what they want. Another hostage, another piece of leverage. So what am I supposed to do? Wait in the car while you're going to be my eyes. Cole handed her a tablet. Thermal imaging. I'll plant cameras on my approach. You watch the feeds, tell me what you see. Warn me if anyone's moving. Maya looked at the tablet, then back at him. That's not enough. I need to be there. You need to trust me. Cole's voice softened just slightly. Can you do that? Maya thought about the warehouse, about the way he'd moved through those armed men like they were nothing, about the way he'd saved her life over and over without asking for anything in return. Yes, she said. I trust you. Good. Then let me do my job. The old shipyard was exactly what Maya expected. Abandoned. Industrial. The kind of place where bad things happened and nobody asked questions. Cole parked the car a quarter-mile away and handed Maya an earpiece. Stay here. Keep the engine running. Watch the tablet. Tell me everything you see. Cole. He paused, one hand on the door. Bring him back, Maya said. Please. He nodded once and disappeared into the darkness. Maya watched the tablet as Cole's thermal signature moved toward the shipyard. Small cameras activated one by one, giving her fragmented views of the area. I'm seeing 6 men outside, she said into the earpiece. 2 at the main entrance, 4 patrolling the perimeter. Copy. There's a larger heat signature inside the main building. Looks like a group, maybe 10 people. The dog, Maya scanned the feeds. I can't, wait. There's something in the back corner, smaller signature, not moving much. That's him. He's alive. Maya felt tears threatening. She forced them down. Cole, be careful. Always am. The first guard went down silently. Cole emerged from the shadows behind him and applied a chokehold so fast the man didn't have time to make a sound. He lowered the unconscious body to the ground and kept moving. The second guard saw his partner fall. He opened his mouth to shout a warning. Cole's fist connected with his throat before any sound came out. 2 down, Maya reported, watching the feeds. The patrol is coming around the east side. 30 seconds. Cole melted into the darkness behind a rusted shipping container. The patrol passed within 3 feet of him, without seeing anything. When they were gone, he moved again. Clear path to the building, Maya said, but there's a camera above the door. I see it. He pulled a small device from his pocket and aimed it at the camera. A brief burst of static, and the feed went dark. You killed their camera. They'll know something's wrong. That's the idea. Inside the main building, Vincent Castellano was waiting. He was older than Maya had imagined. Mid-60s with silver hair and a face that looked like it had been carved from stone. He wore a perfectly tailored suit and held a glass of whiskey as if he were attending a dinner party instead of a kidnapping. Shadow was in a cage at the far end of the room. The dog was awake, alert, his eyes fixed on the door. Even from a distance, Maya could see his hackles were raised. Mr. Castellano. One of his men approached. The camera on the east entrance just went dark. Castellano didn't look surprised. She brought her friend. Good. Should we? No. Let him come. I want to meet the man who thinks he can destroy my family. The first explosion hit the west wall. It wasn't a big explosion, just enough to blow out a window and create confusion. Men shouted. Guns were drawn. Everyone's attention snapped to the west side of the building. Cole came through the east door. He moved like a force of nature. The first 2 men who turned to face him were down before they could raise their weapons. The third got off a shot that went wide. Cole closed the distance and broke his arm in 2 places. Contact east, contact east. More men converged on his position. Cole didn't run. He moved forward into them, using their own numbers against them. In tight quarters, they couldn't shoot without hitting each other. But Cole had no such limitation. Maya watched on the tablet, her heart in her throat. 3 more coming from the back, she said. Behind you, Cole. Behind you. He spun just as they appeared. The first one took a palm strike to the nose that dropped him instantly. The second tried to grapple. Cole used his momentum against him, throwing him into the third. Shadow's cage is 15 feet to your left, Maya said. But Castellano, I see him. Vincent Castellano hadn't moved. He stood in the center of the chaos, sipping his whiskey, watching Cole work with something that looked almost like admiration. Impressive, he said, his voice cutting through the noise. Truly impressive. You must be the ghost everyone's been talking about. Cole dropped the last of the guards and straightened. Blood was trickling from a cut on his forehead, but his breathing was steady. Let the dog go, he said. Castellano smiled. Straight to business. I respect that. He set his whiskey down on a nearby crate. But I think we should talk first. Nothing to talk about. No. Your friend Officer Torres has cost me a great deal. My son is in federal custody. My lawyer is cooperating with the FBI to save his own skin. 40 years of work unraveling because of one stubborn woman and her pet. She was doing her job. Her job, Castellano laughed. Her job was to look the other way. That's everyone's job in this city. That's how it's always been. But she couldn't do that, could she? She had to be a hero. Let the dog go, Cole repeated. Last warning. Castellano's smile faded. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've built? I've had senators in my pocket, judges, police chiefs. I've made men disappear for less than what you've done tonight. And yet here we are. Castellano reached into his jacket. Cole tensed, but the old man didn't pull a weapon. He pulled a phone. You're good, Castellano said. Better than anyone I've ever seen. But you're not bulletproof. He pressed a button on the phone. The back door of the building burst open. More men poured in. Not the amateur thugs from before. These were professionals. Body armor, tactical gear, military-grade weapons. My real security team, Castellano said. The ones I keep for special occasions. Cole assessed the new threat. 8 men, automatic weapons, disciplined formation. These weren't local muscle. These were mercenaries. You can't win this, Castellano said. Not even you. So here's my offer. Walk away. Take the cop and disappear. Leave Charleston and never come back. Do that and I'll let you both live. And Shadow, the dog stays with me. Call it compensation for my son. Cole's expression didn't change. Counteroffer. I'm listening. You let the dog go. You turn yourself into the FBI, and I don't kill every man in this room. Castellano stared at him for a long moment. Then he laughed. You're bluffing. I never bluff. 8 against 1, even for you. Who said I was alone? The lights went out. Total darkness. Shouting. The tactical team's flashlights activated, but the beams seemed to create more shadows than they dispelled. And then the shooting started. But it wasn't coming from inside the building. It was coming from outside. Precise, controlled bursts that shattered windows and sent the mercenaries diving for cover. What the hell? Castellano's voice was panicked now. Who's shooting? Cole smiled in the darkness. Back up. Maya hadn't stayed in the car. The moment she saw the mercenaries enter the building, she made a decision. Cole had given her a rifle, told her it was for emergencies. This qualified. She wasn't a sniper. She wasn't military. But she was a cop, and cops knew how to shoot. She positioned herself on a low rooftop across from the shipyard. When Cole killed the lights, she started firing. Not to kill, just to create chaos, to give Cole the opening he needed. I'm in position, she said into the earpiece, creating suppression fire. Cole's voice came back breathless but amused. I told you to stay in the car. I don't take orders from civilians. She fired again, the rifle kicking against her shoulder. Another window shattered. Another mercenary dropped to the ground, pinned down by fire he couldn't locate. Shadow's cage, Cole said. I need 30 seconds. You've got them. Maya emptied her magazine into the building, reloaded, and kept firing. Her shoulder was going to be bruised for weeks. She didn't care. 30 seconds later, Cole's voice crackled in her ear. I've got him. He's alive. Moving to extraction point. What about Castellano? There was a pause. He's coming with us. Cole emerged from the back of the building, carrying Shadow in his arms. The dog was weak sedated, but his eyes were open. His tail gave a feeble wag when he smelled his handler nearby. Behind Cole, Vincent Castellano stumbled along with his hands bound behind his back. The old man's face was a mask of rage. You have no idea what you've done, he snarled. No idea who you're dealing with. I know exactly who I'm dealing with, Cole replied. A man who thought money could buy him out of anything. You were wrong. They reached the car. Maya was already there, having climbed down from her sniper position. When she saw Shadow, she burst into tears. Shadow. Oh God, Shadow. Cole handed the dog to her gently. Shadow whimpered and pressed his nose against her neck. He's okay, Cole said. They sedated him, but he's okay. Maya couldn't speak. She just held her partner, feeling his heart beat against her chest, feeling his warm breath on her skin. This isn't over, Castellano said. My lawyers will have me out in... Cole hit him. A single precise strike that dropped the old man to his knees. Your lawyers are already talking to the FBI. Your son is facing 30 years. Your empire is finished. Cole crouched down to meet Castellano's eyes. You should have let her write the traffic ticket. You should have let your son face the consequences of his actions like everyone else. But you couldn't do that, could you? You had to show her who was boss. You had to hurt her dog. He stood up. That was your mistake. Sirens in the distance. Getting closer. Time to go, Maya said. Cole nodded. He shoved Castellano into the back of the car and got behind the wheel. Where are we taking him? FBI field office. I called ahead. Maya looked at him, surprised. You called the FBI. I called a friend at the FBI. Someone I trust. Someone who's been waiting for a chance to take down the Castellanos for 20 years. They drove through the dark streets of Charleston, Shadow cradled in Maya's lap. Castellano silent and defeated in the back seat. It's really over, Maya asked. The hard part is, now comes the paperwork. Despite everything, Maya laughed. It was a broken, exhausted sound, but it was real. I hate paperwork. I know, but you're going to have to do a lot of it. Statements, depositions, probably a congressional hearing or two. And you, Cole was quiet for a moment. I'll be there as long as you need me. After that, he didn't finish the sentence. Maya looked down at Shadow. The dog's eyes were closed now, his breathing steady. Healing. Cole. Yeah. Thank you. For everything. I know you didn't have to get involved. I know this wasn't your fight. It became my fight the moment I heard your dog crying in the dark. He glanced at her. Some things are worth fighting for, even when they're not your problem. The village you talked about, the one that got burned, that's why you do this, isn't it? You couldn't save them, so you save everyone else. Cole's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Something like that. You're a good man, Cole Brennan. No, I'm just a man who's seen what happens when good people do nothing. They pulled up to the FBI field office. Agents were already waiting outside. A woman in a sharp suit approached the car. She had the look of someone who had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. "Agent Reeves," Cole said, getting out of the car. "I brought you a present." Agent Reeves looked in the back seat at Vincent Castellano. Her face split into a grin. "Cole, you beautiful bastard. You actually did it." "I had help." He nodded toward Maya, who was climbing out with Shadow still in her arms. "Officer Torres," Agent Reeves said, "I've heard a lot about you. You've got more guts than half the agents in my office. I just wanted to protect my partner. And you took down a criminal empire in the process. Not bad for a traffic stop gone wrong." Agents swarmed the car, pulling Castellano out and reading him his rights. The old man was silent now, his face blank. He knew it was over. "What happens now?" Maya asked. "Now we build the case," Agent Reeves said. "Your recording from the warehouse, the evidence from tonight, your testimony. It's enough to put the whole family away for life." "And Maya," Cole asked, "the suspension." "The internal affairs investigation. Already being handled. Once the federal charges are filed, Charleston PD will fall all over themselves to reinstate her. She's about to become the most famous cop in the state." Maya didn't care about fame. She didn't care about vindication. She just cared about the dog in her arms breathing steadily against her chest. "I need to get him to a vet," she said. "A real vet. One that isn't compromised." "I'll arrange it," Agent Reeves said. "Best veterinary care in the city, on the Bureau's dime." Maya nodded, too tired to argue. Cole walked her to a waiting SUV. An agent would drive her to the clinic while he stayed behind to give his statement. "Will I see you again?" Maya asked. "Count on it." "Promise." Cole looked at her. At the exhausted, battered woman who had refused to give up, who had fought against impossible odds, who had saved her partner against everything the world threw at her. "I promise." Maya got in the SUV, Shadow still cradled in her arms. As the vehicle pulled away, she looked back. Cole was standing in front of the FBI building, watching her go. He raised one hand in a small wave. She waved back. Then she turned and pressed her face into Shadow's fur. "We did it, boy," she whispered. "We did it!" Shadow's tail wagged once weakly. It was enough. 3 weeks later, Maya Torres stood in front of the Charleston Police Department headquarters with her badge back on her chest and her gun back on her hip. Captain Holt had called her personally. The suspension was lifted. The internal affairs investigation was closed. Not just closed, the entire file had been expunged as if it had never existed. "Officer Torres." Holt met her at the front door. His face looked different, less tired, almost hopeful. "Welcome back." "Thank you, sir." "I owe you an apology. I should have fought harder for you. You did what you could. The system failed. It wasn't your fault." Holt nodded slowly. "The system failed. But you didn't. You and your friend." Maya didn't respond to that. She hadn't seen Cole since the night at the FBI field office. He had disappeared again as completely as he had the first time. But he had kept his promise. He had texted her 3 days after Vincent Castellano's arrest. "Shadow is going to be fine. So are you. I'm proud of you." That was it. No goodbye. No explanation. Just those 3 sentences. Maya had stared at the message for hours, wanting to respond, not knowing what to say. By the time she finally typed something back, the number was disconnected. He was a ghost again. "There's someone waiting for you," Holt said, pulling her back to the present. "In the K9 unit training yard." Maya's heart jumped. "Shadow, Dr. Warren cleared him for light duty this morning. He's been asking for you." Maya didn't wait for permission. She ran. The training yard was empty, except for one figure. a Belgian Malinois with a white bandage still wrapped around his chest, sitting perfectly still, his eyes fixed on the gate. The moment Shadow saw her, he was on his feet. He couldn't run, his ribs were still healing, but he moved as fast as his body would allow, his tail wagging so hard, his whole body shook. Maya dropped to her knees and caught him in her arms. Shadow. Oh God, Shadow, I missed you so much. The dog pressed his face into her neck, whimpering with joy. His tail never stopped wagging. I'm sorry, Maya whispered. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm so sorry they hurt you. Shadow pulled back and looked at her. His dark eyes were calm, steady, full of the same unconditional trust they had always held. He didn't blame her. He had never blamed her. Maya laughed through her tears and scratched behind his ears. You're the best partner I've ever had. You know that... Shadow's response was to lick her entire face. The next few days were a blur. Maya was reinstated with full back pay. The department held a press conference where the chief himself praised her courage and dedication. Reporters from every major network wanted interviews. She turned them all down. I didn't do this for attention, she told Holt. I did it because it was right. That's exactly why you should talk to them. People need to hear that story. They need to know that good cops still exist. Let them write whatever they want. I have work to do. She went back to patrol. Back to the streets she knew with Shadow beside her in the cruiser. The bandages came off after another week. The vet said he was healing faster than anyone expected. He's a fighter, Dr. Warren told her. One of the strongest I've ever seen. I know, Maya said. Someone told me that once. She thought about Cole every day. She thought about him when she drove past the street where they first met, when she saw the warehouse district from her patrol route, when she lay awake at night staring at her ceiling, wondering where he was. She had tried to find him, used every database she had access to, searched military records, government files, anything she could think of. Cole Brennan didn't exist. Not officially. He was exactly what he had always claimed to be, a ghost. 1 month after the Castellano arrest, Maya got a package at her apartment. There was no return address, no note, just a small box wrapped in plain brown paper. Inside was a medal, a Navy Cross, one of the highest honors a sailor could receive. It was old, worn around the edges, clearly authentic. Beneath it was a photograph. A younger Cole, maybe 10 years ago, standing with a group of men in military gear. They were all smiling. Behind them, the barren landscape of what looked like Afghanistan. On the back of the photo, a single word was written in neat handwriting. Remember. Maya held the medal in her hand for a long time. She didn't know what it meant, didn't know why he had sent it. But she understood the weight of it. He had given her a piece of himself, the only piece he had to give. She put the medal in her bedside drawer next to her father's old police badge, 2 symbols of service, 2 reminders of what it meant to protect others. 2 weeks later, the trials began. Marco Castellano pleaded guilty to assault, attempted murder, and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. Richard Vance, the lawyer, got 15 years for bribery, witness tampering, and obstruction of justice. He cried when the verdict was read. Vincent Castellano went to trial. Maya was called to testify. She sat in the witness box for 3 days, answering questions, reliving the worst night of her life over and over again. The defense attorney tried everything, tried to discredit her, tried to paint her as a rogue cop with a vendetta, tried to suggest that she had fabricated evidence. Maya didn't flinch. Mr. Castellano ordered his men to beat my canine partner with steel-toed boots, she said, her voice steady. He kidnapped my dog to use as leverage. He threatened to kill me. I watched him do these things. I heard him admit to these things, and I will never forget any of it." The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Vincent Castellano was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. When the verdict was read, he didn't react. He just stared straight ahead, his face blank, as if he had known all along that this was how it would end. Maya watched them lead him away in handcuffs. She felt no satisfaction, no triumph, just a deep, bone-tired relief that it was finally over. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed her again. "Officer Torres, how does it feel to bring down the Castellano empire?" "Officer Torres, are you planning to write a book?" "Officer Torres, can you tell us about the mysterious man who helped you?" Maya pushed through the crowd without answering. She had nothing to say to them, nothing that would matter. Captain Holt was waiting by her car. "Hell of a job, Torres. The FBI is recommending you for a commendation. The governor wants to shake your hand." "I don't need commendations. I don't need handshakes." "What do you need?" Maya thought about it. "A day off, maybe 2. Holt laughed. "Take a week. You've earned it." She drove home with Shadow in the back seat, his head out the window, his tongue lolling in the breeze. He was fully healed now, stronger than ever. She pulled into her apartment complex and killed the engine. That's when she saw him. Cole was sitting on the steps outside her building. He looked different, rested, less haunted. He stood up as she approached. Hey yourself." Maya stopped a few feet away. "I thought you were gone." "I was. I came back." "Why?" Cole was quiet for a moment. Shadow trotted over to him and pressed his nose against Cole's hand. Cole scratched behind the dog's ears, a small smile touching his lips. "I watched the trial," he said. "From the back of the courtroom. You didn't see me. You were there every day. I wanted to make sure you were okay." Maya felt something tighten in her chest. "I'm okay. I know. You were incredible. The way you handled that defense attorney, the way you never backed down. I learned from the best." Cole looked at her. Really looked at her the way he had that first night in the hospital waiting room. "I have to leave again," he said. "Tomorrow. There's a situation overseas. People who need help." Maya nodded. She had known this was coming. Had known it from the moment she met him. "How long?" "I don't know. Months, maybe longer." "Will you come back?" Cole was silent. "I can't promise that," he finally said. "The work I do, it's not the kind of work you come back from, not always." Maya stepped closer to him, close enough to see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from his body. "Then don't promise," she said. "Just try." Cole reached up and touched her face. His hand was rough, calloused, but gentle. "You changed something in me," he said quietly. "I've spent years trying to forget, trying to outrun the ghosts. But you reminded me why I started fighting in the first place." "Why? Because there are people worth protecting. People who refuse to give up even when everything is against them. People who love their partners so much they'll take on the whole damn world to save them." He dropped his hand. "You're one of the good ones, Maya Torres. Don't ever let anyone tell you different." "Cole, I have to go. My flight leaves in 3 hours." "Wait, please." She grabbed his hand. He stopped. "I need to tell you something," she said. "Something I should have said weeks ago. Maya, you saved my life. You saved Shadow's life. But that's not why I'm grateful. I'm grateful because you showed me that I wasn't alone. In that waiting room, when I thought Shadow was dying, you sat there with me. You didn't try to fix anything. You didn't offer empty words, you just stayed. Tears were streaming down her face now. No one has ever done that for me. Not since my dad died. And I need you to know that even if you never come back, even if this is the last time I ever see you, I will never forget what you did for me. Cole's expression cracked. Just a little. Just enough to show the man behind the soldier. You're making this harder than it needs to be, he said. Good. It should be hard. He laughed. It was a real laugh, full and warm, and Maya realized she had never heard him laugh like that before. You're something else, you know that, so I've been told. They stood there in the fading light, two people who had survived something impossible together. All right, Cole said. When I can. It won't be often, and it won't be much, but I'll let you know I'm alive. Promise. Promise. He leaned forward and pressed his lips to her forehead, a gentle kiss full of things neither of them knew how to say. Then he stepped back. Take care of that dog, he said. He's special. I know. Cole turned and walked toward a nondescript sedan parked across the street. Maya watched him go, her heart aching in ways she didn't fully understand. He opened the driver's door and paused. Maya, yeah, that thing you said about not being alone, it goes both ways. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had something worth fighting for, someone worth coming home to. He met her eyes across the distance. Thank you for that. He got in the car and drove away. Maya stood on the sidewalk until the taillights disappeared around the corner. Shadow pressed against her leg, whining softly. It's okay, boy, she said, reaching down to stroke his fur. He'll be back. He promised. Shadow looked up at her with those trusting brown eyes. Maya smiled. Come on, let's go home. 6 months passed. Maya was promoted to detective. She worked cases that mattered, made a difference in her community, built a reputation as someone who couldn't be bought, couldn't be intimidated, couldn't be broken. Shadow retired from active duty after the doctors said his lung would never be quite the same. But he stayed with Maya. He would always stay with Maya. The letters came every few weeks. Short notes, usually just a few lines postmarked from places she couldn't pronounce. Sometimes there was a photograph. Cole standing in front of a sunset. Cole with a group of children he had helped rescue. Cole looking tired, but alive. Always alive. She wrote back every time, told him about her cases, about Shadow, about the small moments that made life worth living. She never knew if he got her letters, but she kept writing anyway. On a Tuesday morning in late spring, Maya was sitting at her desk when her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Look up. She looked up. Cole Brennan was standing in the doorway of the detective's bullpen. He looked older, more scars, but his eyes were the same, warm and watchful, and filled with something that might have been hope. Maya stood up slowly. You came back. I promised. She walked toward him. Each step felt like a mile, a year, a lifetime. When she reached him, she didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say. Cole solved the problem for her. He pulled her into his arms and held her like he had that night in her apartment when Shadow was fighting for his life and the whole world was falling apart. I missed you, he said into her hair. I missed you too. They stood there in the middle of the bullpen, surrounded by cops who had no idea what they were witnessing. Maya didn't care. Let them stare. Let them wonder. How long are you back for? She asked. I don't know. Long enough. Long enough for what? Cole pulled back and looked at her. That same intense gaze that had once terrified her now felt like coming home. Long enough to figure out what comes next. Long enough to see if there's a life for me outside the shadows. He paused. Long enough to take you to dinner, if you'll let me. Maya laughed. After everything they had been through after the gunfights and the kidnappings and the trials, he was asking her to dinner like a nervous teenager. I think I can manage that. Tonight works. Cole smiled, a real smile without shadows, without ghosts. Pick you up at 7. I'll be ready. He kissed her forehead again, the same gentle kiss from that day in front of her apartment. Then he turned and walked out of the bullpen. Maya watched him go, her heart full for the first time in longer than she could remember. Detective Torres. One of the younger officers approached her desk. Who was that? Maya smiled. A friend. That evening, Maya stood in front of her mirror, putting on earrings she hadn't worn in years. Shadow lay on her bed, watching her with lazy, content eyes. What do you think, boy? Do I look okay? Shadow's tail thumped against the mattress. I'll take that as a yes. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. Maya opened the door. Cole stood there in a clean shirt and dark jeans, holding a small bouquet of flowers. He looked almost nervous. These are for you, he said, holding out the flowers. I wasn't sure what kind you liked, so I got... They're perfect. She took the flowers and stepped aside to let him in. Shadow immediately trotted over and pressed his nose against Cole's hand. Hey, buddy. Cole crouched down and scratched behind Shadow's ears. You've gotten strong again. Look at you. Shadow's tail wagged furiously. Maya put the flowers in water and grabbed her jacket. Ready? Cole asked. Ready. They walked out into the Charleston evening, the city spreading out before them like a promise. The same streets where everything had begun. The same air thick with humidity and the scent of jasmine. But everything was different now. Where are we going? Maya asked. I know a place, small Italian restaurant near the harbor. Best pasta in the city. Sounds perfect. They walked in comfortable silence for a few blocks. Then Cole said, I've been thinking. About what? About what you said that night. About not being alone. Maya looked at him. What about it? I spent 15 years running. From memories, from feelings, from anything that might make me vulnerable. I told myself it was because the work was too dangerous, that I couldn't afford attachments. And now I think I was just scared. Scared of losing someone again. Scared of caring about something I couldn't control. He stopped walking and turned to face her. But then I met you. And you weren't scared of anything. You took on the entire Castellano family with nothing but a badge and a dog. You never backed down, never gave up, never stopped fighting. I was terrified the whole time, Maya admitted. That's what courage is. Being terrified and doing it anyway. Cole took her hand. His fingers intertwined with hers, rough and warm and steady. I don't know what the future holds, he said. I don't know if I can be normal. I don't know if the ghosts will ever go away completely. But I know I want to try. With you. If you'll have me. Maya squeezed his hand. I'm not asking you to be normal, Cole. I'm not asking you to forget where you've been or what you've done. I'm just asking you to be here, with me, one day at a time. I can do that. Then that's enough. They stood there on the Charleston sidewalk, two people who had found each other in the darkest night and somehow made it to the morning. Come on, Maya said finally. You promised me the best pasta in the city. Cole laughed. So I did. They walked toward the restaurant, hand in hand, leaving the shadows behind them. And somewhere back in Maya's apartment, Shadow lifted his head and looked out the window. He watched his handler disappear around the corner with the man who had saved them both. Then he let out a contented sigh, laid his head back down, and closed his eyes. His pack was safe. His handler was happy. The danger was gone. For the first time in months, everything was exactly as it should be. Some stories end with revenge. Some end with justice. Some end with heroes riding off into the sunset. This story ended with something simpler, something better. It ended with a woman who refused to look away when evil showed its face. A dog who loved his partner enough to fight through impossible odds. And a man who finally learned that the bravest thing a soldier can do is come home. They had won, not because they were stronger than their enemies, not because they had more power or more resources. They had won because they had each other. And in the end, that made all the difference. Maya Torres walked through the streets of Charleston with Cole Brennan beside her, their footsteps falling into rhythm, their silences comfortable, their futures uncertain but bright. Behind them, the city sparkled in the fading light. Ahead of them, the night was just beginning. And for the first time in a very long time, neither of them was walking alone. Because true justice isn't just about putting bad people behind bars. True justice is about finding the courage to stand up when everyone else sits down. True justice is about protecting the ones you love no matter what it costs. And true justice is about knowing that no matter how dark the night becomes, there will always be someone willing to walk through the shadows to bring you home. Maya had found that someone, and she was never letting go.